So today we're continuing the interview with Josh. We're going to talk a little more about flirting and kind of the more practical end of that. If you haven't seen last week's video where it was the first part of this, best excerpts of this interview, of this like 2 hour conversation I had with Josh, check it out up in the cards. Otherwise, I leave it to Josh.
So my name is Josh, and I'm just a guy in rural Ohio who really wants to date with intention. So I'm trying to investigate how to do all these things and how to become a better person, a better conversationalist, a better flirt, maybe more attractive. And so that's what I like to discuss with my buddy Richard.
Anybody who's watching is looking for a relationship, you have to remember that they are not where you are, right? You have to meet them where they are. So
Yes.
they might be looking for a relationship too. That's entirely possible, but they might not be in the same space as you are. They might not be kind of at the stage you are. They might not know what they're looking for as clearly as you do.
At some point, we should discuss what flirting looks like. This is just kind of a tactical thing, because it's always a fine balance between you don't want to look creepy or aggressive, but at the same time you want to gracefully show your interest, and it's always a fine dance.
I love that description, that dance of, and you're right, you don't want to come off too aggressive. If you're not looking for a relationship, you might be looking for a relationship. They might not be active.
Right.
So you might flirt and they might not get it.
Sometimes you can bridge that gap, and other times you can't.
Part of that making space as well, that having space for a person and being like, yes, my family is part of my life. In my case, it is. I'm going to share a funny story from years back. My late wife went and got her master's degree after her cancer diagnosis. Mm-hmm. So she was in class, and I went to meet her after class, and there was a girl waiting next to me for her friend who was in the class.
Right.
And I looked over, and she had these really, really pale eyes, and they were. I was impressed, So I said,
Right.
You have beautiful eyes. To which she called me a pig and stormed off. Now, this gets funny. After the class, my wife comes out, her friend comes out, goes to find her. She was just down the hall a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next week, same thing. I'm there. Her friend wasn't. But the friend who was in the class with my wife said, told my wife, she was like, your husband hit on my friend. And she goes, let me guess. He complimented her eyes. She was like, yeah. She was like, your friend needs to learn to take a compliment. He was complimenting her eyes. And she goes,
Yeah.
Does it bother you? She was like, why would it? It's something nice that he would say to her because it's an observation he made. And he comes home to me.
That is another big ball of wax that we could delve into for hours.
Oh, yeah.
Because in fact, even recently, I've seen women on Facebook discussing this very thing, and a lot of them feel offended if a guy compliments them on a physical attribute like eyes, because they feel as if you're dehumanizing them and turning them into some object of lust, which they actually make this leap from, hey, your eyes are pretty, where it's just an honest, innocent compliment. And from their perspective, it's kind of understandable why they make the leap, because there have been so many women who have had guys that start out with compliments and they brush off the compliment, and the guys get aggressive with them. True. And because of this, it's like they get kind of very trigger shy, so to speak. So whenever any guy comes up and compliments them, they're like, you're a pig, get out of here.
I think it's important to set the intent as well. Like, I think you're cool. I want to get to know you better.
That kind of throws the dart in the target of, hey, let's kind of heat this up just a little bit while still being respectful. Versus if you just ask her out for coffee and you guys meet and it's just banter and there's nothing that's, let's say, spicy, then she might not think that you're interested in anything more.
But with flirting, it's a matter of, there's nothing wrong with saying, it's like, I think you're gorgeous. I would like to know more. I think you're gorgeous. I think you're intriguing. Your eyes captivate me, and I'd like to get to know you more. And there's nothing wrong with being very, that blunt.
Of course, the flip side to that is it's important to be able to read the situation. And I'm sure you've heard from so many guys who have said, "Hey, I was talking with this woman 10 years ago, and we just recently met, and she's like, hey, I always liked you. Why didn't you try and start anything?" And she was like, I was flirting with you the whole time. And the guy's like, you were? So it's very helpful to be able to accurately read the room and specifically read the body language of the person you're talking to. Um, if you go up to somebody and say, "Hey, your eyes are gorgeous and you're captivating and this and that," and she's, if she gets small and she crosses her arms, that's probably a sign that she's not into you, I would think.
Or at least comfortable with that.
Yeah, exactly.
But to that point, there is a possibility that, and I'm going to put this out there, that if guys, anybody who's listening, if you go to somebody and say something like that, and they do shore up, it's not you. It could be very well that they have self-esteem issues and are not comfortable being complimented, because there are people who cannot take a compliment.
Yes.
Right. So they might close up now, but if you are still approachable later, they might turn around and go, hey, did you mean what you said?
I heard a tact that some guys use at gyms that have like indoor running tracks. Um, they might see somebody running that they find attractive, and they'll run kind of with them and just say, "Hey, what's up?" And then continue their run at a different pace. And they'll do this over a period of time so that they become kind of a fixture. And again, that plays into the safety, the feeling of safety for somebody who they approach. Um, and so if you're part of that environment, then it's very easy if you approach somebody and try and have that radical honesty, and they close up because they're afraid of being complimented. If you're a part of that environment, then at some point later they may come up to you and say, "Hey, just like you said," they might say, "Hey, like, did you mean what you said?" Or like, "Can we talk about it?"
I hope you found that interview or that segment super helpful and entertaining. If you have questions for Josh or I, feel free to post them in the comments below, or for a more interactive experience, reach out to me, Richard Strother, the Widower's Wingman, at thewidowerswingman.com. You can find more media, you can find resources, you can book a call. More importantly, you can book a call. It says 45 minutes. We're going to take the time we need. It's not a sales call. It's about helping you, making sure that you have the right resources you need for your journey. And if I'm that right resource, that's great. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you want, but more importantly, if you know somebody for whom this would be useful, please do share it. It's only useful if it does get shared for the people who need it. I will see you guys in the next video if I don't get the privilege of meeting you first.